Hello, and welcome back to another encouraging, inspiring, and including episode of the Achieving Unity Success Formula. It is our weekly podcast where we help turn chaos into connection and purpose into action. I am your host, Mark Entrekin, founder of the Achieving Unity Success Formula, also known as the Unity Success Formula. You can check it out at any time by going to www.unitysuccessformula.com, which is dedicated to improving lives by encouraging, inspiring, and including others. I am honored today to introduce another truly remarkable guest, Debe Fennell, a special guest who is a leader in affiliate partnerships and media. Debe helps people grow with trust, clarity, and real connection. It's what we need the most. Debe's work reflects the heart of the Achieving Unity Success Formula. Debe lifts people up both personally and professionally. Debe began with TV, radio, print, and music. Debe rose as a top promotion and partnership expert, then later launched Debe Enterprises to guide creators with care. Debe's focus on unity, service, and strong relationships shines in everything that Debe does. I am honored to share Debe's voice with you today. But first, before we delve into this insightful discussion, let me briefly introduce my company, Reality Focused Dynamics, where it all began. As you can see on the slide, is my gift to you, and I hope you will take advantage of it. Would love for you to listen to it, read it. Let's talk about it. It's about the Achieving Unity Guide. It helps us understand better about what things such as frustration and disconnection and prejudgment, sometimes learned or known as hate, and it's so many things about hate and prejudice and anger that come about that we just we know that they a lot of times just originate from something as simple as the frustrations that we encounter every day. Sometimes it's just about the anger that we come up with for no reason. We'll talk more about that in a second. But this book, this guide, will get you through a chance to see about what Achieving Unity is about. To reach it, just look at the QR code down the bottom left. That'll take you directly to the guide. Or look at the QR code in the bottom right, and it'll get you to our blog, where I write articles and put them out onto the website. So we'd love to see you take a look at them and get back to us. Thank you. Again, is our Achieving Unity Success Formula, and this is our weekly podcast number 62. We're here every Wednesday, as long as we can, 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Come join us. Put it on your calendar. We'd love to see you here every week and love to answer your questions too. So as we're going through this, we'll be talking about different items and different subjects. If you have a question, notify us in the chat. I know I'd love to answer them, help you answer those questions, and DB would also. So let us know. Looking forward to your questions and happy you're here to weekly podcast number 62. As we look at what we do in everything that we work with, excuse me, this is my logo. And you can see the QR code on the bottom left for my website home. But as you see the logo on the slide, it truly reflects the core value of what we do and how we stand firm. Notice how focused is at the heart. That's because everything that we explore, from reality focused dynamics to success focused solution, revolves around clear, intentional direction. In fact, the full definition and the being is the whole concept about being focused is so core to us in achieving unity and creating solutions that it's even reflected in our business phone number, 303 362-8733, which spells 303 focused on your phone pad. Check it out. 303-362-8733. The same as 303 FOCUSED on your keypad. We truly believe that by being focused on what matters, we can create meaningful change and achieve lasting unity. What do we do in reality focused dynamics and success focused solutions? What we do is we show you proven, compassionate strategies that turn conflict into lasting harmony. This is at home, at work, and in every relationship that matters, personal, professional, or social. Are you ever frustrated by tension or arguments? My 7-step work roadmap gives you the tools to move from conflict to collaboration quickly and confidently. Are you craving stronger trust, stronger connections? We help you discover communication tactics that build respect, repair relationships, and unify teams and families alike. Transform conflict into connection, together, achieving unity. And you can see my other URL down at the bottom right, realityfocusdynamics.com. Come see us. Love to talk with you. Unity inspires us in our homes, helps us shape society. And unity transforms workplaces. We help you turn that frustration into understanding. Have you ever heard anybody just say sometime, what the frustration? Okay, maybe they didn't use that word frustration. That's a big word. But what we do is we help you find value in your actions instead of reacting in anger or frustration. We show that anger holds no value, none. It is just actions not gaining effective results. ANGER, actions not gaining effective results. Yes, life happens. It happens in every relationship, from personal to professional, from parenting time to partnerships, happens in the boardroom, happens in the bedroom, and every room in between. We show you how to embrace your challenges and encourage a more inspired and inclusive future. That's the EII, encouraging, inspiring, and including others to build a better future for all of us. One vision, one goal, achieving unity in every area of life. So what is our call to action? Well, the call to action is to ditch the drama. Get stuff done. Stop finding what's wrong. Find what's right. Find that quality. Find the love, the caring, the partnership, the teamwork. We'll show you how to turn your life from what may seem at times like a dumpster fire to a well-oiled machine. Don't be bouncing off the walls. Come together. You can do this. Achieving unity is the path to stronger relationships, inspired leadership, and lasting change, which builds lifetime improvements. We help you through coaching, consulting, courses, and keynote speakers. There's a QR code right there on the bottom right. Click it, get in touch with us, or call us 303-362-8733, which spells what? 303 focused. Let's get focused. Give us a call today. Thank you. And we have more upcoming podcasts. Next week, we have Jerry Foster talk about branding. And in the branding, we're talking about overcoming prejudice, that prejudgment. That's on November 26th, next week. The week after that, the first Wednesday in December, Anita Sarda. We talk about what inspires you to lift others. Why should we inspire others? We'll talk about that with Anita. Come join us. Great examples, great roles that we can take forward with each of us. On December 10th, Steve Brosman, Selling Yourself, personally and professionally. It's not just the personal side, not just the professional side. It's about being who you want to be, fully, commitment, responsible, accountable, all comes together. Then on December 17th, a longtime friend of mine, Linda Ray, Thrive Every Day. She shows us how to take our lives, build upon them, tells stories about this, how we can thrive every day to make each and every day better. But now I am so excited. This is a situation where we have someone that's going to talk to us on the personal level and the entrepreneur level. They're talking about building a business, your contacts, your connections, your relationships. DB will talk to us about that. Building list through your relationships. Debe Fennell is a veteran JV, joint venture, and affiliate manager known for building high impact partnerships. They can be for global brands, speaker authors, the background in national television, radio, print, social media, and publishing. DB shifted her expertise to affiliate relations, creating lasting collaborations between content creators and industry leaders. She served as the general manager of Launch Moxie's, that's one word, author co-op, and later as senior affiliate and joint venture manager for major international clients before founding DB Enterprises, where she continues to provide strategic affiliate management, relationship building, and marketing leadership. Prior to publishing and marketing, DB had a distinguished music industry. Her career is in holding national promotion roles at Sony, BMG, Curb Records, Magnatone, VP of National Promotion, and Giant Records. As an independent promoter, she worked with top country artists, shaping careers and guiding them to national success. DB is also deeply committed to community service, serving as Reno's Arts and Culture Committee, volunteering as a master gardener for a decade, and maintaining 25 years of Rotary membership. I was a former member of Rotary. Great organization. She now contributes her expertise on the City of Reno's Urban Forestry Commission. You can see her LinkedIn URL on the bottom right. LinkedIn with DB Fennell. Check out her website. Go see her. But now, for today's podcast, our special guest, please help me welcome DB Fennell.
Thank you, Mark.
My
Thank you.
pleasure, DB. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. And by the way, it's Fennell. We didn't talk about that
Fennell.
before. It's Fennell.
Oh, I
Fennell's,
got your first name and working on that one. I did not think
uh,
about that.
no
Fennell.
worries. No worries.
I like
Um,
that. DB
I
Fennell.
love what you do. I love what you talk about. It's a lot to do with what I do. So I love it.
I appreciate that because that's what I saw too, is I learned more and more about the intricacies, what you do, DB. It's so interesting that we march in the same parade, have some
We
of the
do.
same music, and it's awesome to be able to work with you. So, well, let's start. DB, can
Okay.
you introduce yourself a little bit? What should people know about you right off the bat?
Well, let's see. I'm also a singer, by the way, and so that's gardening and singing are where I get my release and my joy. And when you're online all the time, when you're speaking with people all the time, when you're doing this, it's seating, it's sitting, and so those things allow me to get up and move around and not be so stationary. But the centering of, I'm going to use gardening as the example. The centering of gardening helps me think through problems with people and then remember how simple everything in life should be. And I can't do my job as a joint venture marketing manager without trust. And to build those relationships of trust takes time over years. Some of my relationships in this business have been 20 years long. And so the reason we keep doing business is because they trust me. And I follow through and do what I say I'm going to do. And if I can't, it's so easy to apologize, and everybody has this feeling that they, never let them see you sweat, never show any weakness. But apology is a strength, and it's a very valuable tool. As simple as saying, I don't know what happened here, but let's find out. And I'm sorry that this didn't go well. It's really easy. It's People will twist themselves around rather than address an actual problem. But if you are clear and straightforward about what you're talking about, then situations don't arise where there's a misunderstanding. And so that gets back to integrity, but most transparency. Talk about those issues and work them out. And I encounter issues every day, mostly with people won't answer the questions. Um, you ask a question, well, what is the commission rate? How many times will you mail? What is your list size? How can you, and these are pretty technical job questions, but if you don't get an answer, then down the road, it gets really sticky. And
That's
people,
exactly right. And that works, as we said earlier, personally and
it
professionally,
does
right?
both ways.
Because if you're not giving the full answer, if you're holding things back, doesn't that cause just as many issues?
The other side of that is you don't always have to say everything you know or feel. Sometimes it's just better not to say those things. And, we all have family members that just annoy us, but we don't have to really talk about that. Just move on down the road. Just let that slide. On the other hand, if people continually abuse you in your personal life or in your professional life and you don't address it, that's on you. And so you have to be a little brave in places, or at least straightforward in places where misunderstandings can cause a lot of problems because it usually gets back to money. In the business I'm in, it's about selling things and commissions. And if you have disagreement or misunderstanding or gray area about the money, that's never good. That's never going to work well.
And I think, like you're saying, maybe hopefully I heard this right. You just mentioned gray area because a lot of it is with full transparency, we create the gray many
Yes.
times, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And it's how I tell the hard sell people who are really not concerned with the details. They just want you to buy. Well, then you start asking them the questions and they don't have answers. I talked to a gentleman 2 days ago who talk, sell, but I could not nail him down on the actual details of the deal. And so I backed away and said, well, I don't think we can do this. And there are lots of power plays that go on all the time. But if they won't get down to the actual agreement, then probably not. And it's okay to just back away and say, I don't think this is the right fit for us. We're going to move. And that does one of two things. They either say, okay, I agree, it doesn't work, or they say, well, okay, let me answer your question now.
Exactly. Let me go ahead and truly be transparent, as we said in the beginning, right?
Yeah, well, that might work in a litigation situation or a divorce or something like that, the last ditch, okay, I'll answer your question. But if you're going to do business on an ongoing basis, just answer the question up front. We all have forms, we all have guidelines. Well, actually, we don't all have forms or guidelines. And so next week, December 4th, I'm doing a webinar on how to do this because a lot of people don't know the difference between a joint venture and an affiliate, or what EPC means, or what a click opt-in rate is, open rate. They don't, what are the conversion rate? People don't know what these things are. We have a lot of new people in our industry, which is great that it expands because we're getting into the make money online, biz op, direct marketing world, which is pretty much all affiliate. So just for people to know, JVs are two-way, affiliates are one way. Pretty simple. But most people use the term affiliate when they really mean JV. So I'm trying to edge, first of all, more educated people makes our industry run better.
Yeah.
And also less confusion happens when people have actual rules and guidelines. And I don't mind, I've never known how to do any job I've ever taken. I just had to figure it out. And I've had lots of jobs. An entrepreneurial kind of person, and I'm curious, so I'll figure things out. But having rules, guidelines about how to do a joint venture in any point of business. If you run a auto body or a car service business and you want to do business with a marketing company, you still have to have the same rules about how that works. And an agreement can be just an MOU, a memorandum of understanding. It also can just be an email with the bullet points of what the deal means. But at some point, you have to really say what the deal is. And the gray areas are where people get in trouble. Oh, yeah, let's do that. We'll do this next week. We'll mail for you, you mail for us. We'll do this thing. But nobody ever talked about that their commission rate was only 10%. Really? Well, 50% is normal, so how come you're not paying me the 50%? You're only paying me 10%. You should have talked about that before the deal went down. So I'm just trying to I'm trying to be more black and white, less gray area. And the more educated people, the more are people who will hire me. I like that.
I'm with you 100%. And DB, whenever you're talking, of course, I'm a founder of Achieving Unity Success
Right.
Formula, and I do work personally and professionally, but there's nothing that you have mentioned yet that you talked about very clearly that works in business and corporate that doesn't also work in the human relationship environment.
That's exactly
Just
right.
being clear. And
Exactly
if
right.
you don't know something, say you don't know.
When I was in the
And
music business, I met a man who was the head of Curb Records, Richard Whitehouse. He's since passed, but he was brilliant at writing contracts. He wrote contracts that worked in perpetuity, which means forever. It's, if you're thinking about an irrevocable trust, same theory. You can't change the rules once you sign this agreement. And so he taught me how to read agreements, to read these contracts for artists who you heard the Taylor Swift story where the people who had the record label would not give her her masters. She did not have ownership of her own masters, and which was really
well, I
shame.
said, wait a minute, you say not a relationship, no, it doesn't have her own masters. What does that mean?
Oh, when you record music, it's recorded onto a master tape. It's really digital now, but it used to be master tapes. Actually, master tapes still exist with your original recording.
Hmm?
And the contracts that are written for any record deal for any artist include all who gets a piece of that pie of revenue from that, who gets the royalties, the the songwriter, the performer, the musicians, the engineer, the producer, the record label, the publishing company, the royalties
That's
come,
something a lot of people don't know about
right?
in
There are a whole bunch of
production arena.
entities that get a piece of that pie. So the artist only gets a little portion of the record sales. Artists really make their money from ticket sales and concessions, the hats and the keychains but but when the contract was written, and she's a really smart person, by the way. She's at 13 when I met her, she was the smartest person in the room. And
Wow.
but they ended up owning her masters of all of her albums and she did not own that. Well, and she tried to fight it, didn't work. So she just went and re-recorded all of those masters, which is a monumental amount of work. But now she owns those masters, and the masters they owned are worthless. So getting everything clear, that was my point. Coming back to my point, being clear about what happens, making sure you understand the terms of the agreement. Now, these are very simple agreements that can happen between two parties to do a joint venture, emailing usually. It could be joint ventures are all kinds of things, licensing agreements, publishing agreements. In the book world, those agreements have to be clear about who gets what percentage of royalties. And it's the same thing. A commission you can equate with a royalty. The reason I could do this business in the email marketing world was because of my experience in the music business, because I was a record promoter and I also worked on the top 100 country charts, and I had to figure
Wow.
out what each markets and each the radio stations in each market have a rate. There was a rating system, and it was determined by how many people listened in, it's all digital now. Nielsen controls that. And in each day part, your morning drive, your afternoon drive, your overnights, your evening drive, all of those are rated. And I had to know what songs played in those quarter hours. And the stop sets are the four parts of that's where all the advertisements are, but the music plays in between, right? And so you had to know what kind of records. So statistics of the market matter. And so it kind of woke my brain up to how to use the data to prove my point. So to get gold records, to get chart records to the top of the chart and keep doing it, you had to know the markets. And then you had to know the personalities of the person you had to talk into playing your record. So in this business, it's the same thing. You go to a person and you say, what is your demographic of your email list? How many people are on your list and who are they? And what kinds of things have they bought before? Have they opted into? What kinds of things are they interested in? Is it personal development? Is it spiritual? Is it coaching for to enhance your business, for sales or marketing or accounting or whatever it is? Matching those lists, they don't want to be competitive, but you want to match the list so that people that you're marketing to are interested in what you're talking about. And so my clients find me to find partners. It's a long process to find good partners, because the point is to do partnerships with people for sustainable revenue. So you partner with that same person 3 or 4 times a year, and you can project your revenue. Everybody should have a business plan so that you know what projected revenue can be for the first quarter. How do you position your promotions in those periods of time so that you get sustained revenue, so that you don't end up over the Christmas holiday with no revenue? Because that's typically been a downtime in the JV marketing world. It doesn't really work anymore because everybody's so digitally mobile, and most of us are on our phones looking at all of these promotions or opportunities or whatever they are. And think about Christmas holiday, Christmas Day, the build up to Christmas Day. You have all the parties and the family things and the Christmas church and all that stuff. But then the day after Christmas, you're stuck in the house with relatives you don't necessarily like. So you're going to be on
Really?
your right, and you're going to be on your phone, your laptop, your pet, whatever, looking at your email and thinking and reading it because you're bored, right? You're going to read your email. So that's a great opportunity to talk to people about things. New Year's Day is the same thing. After you've had your hungover and you've had a greasy breakfast and coffee and whatever, and you're feeling like human again, then you're going to read your email. And that whole week is like that. So, if you think about the psychology of how people react to things. So, you could stop me if I go on too long about this, but one of the things that
No, you bring up some good points.
one of
Please
the things I
continue.
learned at Launch Moxie from Chris was the four different types of buyers, which is fascinating to me because I want to know. For instance, I hate those long sales pages on websites, hate them. And those long emails that talk, 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 talk. Well, there are certain types of buyers who have to have that to satisfy their reticence. They want to have all the explanations and the justifications and all of the anecdotal experiences, and they want to read all of that to be convinced to buy that. I'm not that kind of person. Give me 5 bullets and a button, I'm good. and I'll make my decision from that. Now, granted, I have more experience than most people, but still, I've always been that way. Don't make me wade through this. Don't over explain to me. I'm not an idiot. Let me move. Then there are the other people. There are some people who want to be the cool kids and have their first adapters. They want to have adopters too. They want to have that cool thing before anybody else. Oh yeah, I went to that webinar. It was great. Or I took that course, whatever. That they want the first thing. And then there's the other people who they want they want the surety that what they're doing is the right thing for them. They don't need all the copy, but they do need somebody to reinforce that they should buy that. So that's where you get the endorsements from other people that matter, testimonials.
And I like what you're saying there because, as you mentioned, that trust, that transparency that needs to be there.
Right,
You're having people that are talking and they don't really know what they're talking about. They may have had a situation or heard of a situation that may have happened somehow,
right.
but they are coming off of Facebook type information, which could or may not be fully correct. It's difficult to move forward with that partial information.
Yeah.
And as you're mentioning, business and relationships are much more in sync than we sometimes want to believe. But you're talking about a situation where you're talking quarter hours, how much is playing, how much the commercial's playing. You're talking about some pretty intense data management,
So
aren't you?
on the JV side of that, when I'm doing a JV, we're doing a launch. We have tracking software in the back end. There are all kinds of CRMs, customer relations management. That's what CRM means. I hate acronyms, by the way, and I will explain them every time. And so you're
Well, that's good
looking
that you do that.
so like EPCs, this just means earnings per click. How much money did you make for this click as an average over how many people clicked through to your website and to your offer? What was the earnings per click? If it's $20, you're doing fine. So I go back into the data, like I have people who want a JV and you send them the stuff to mail, this link, their unique affiliate link that you've created in your system that goes to the page, registration page or whatever, where you want them to go. And then the swipe copy, email copy, we all call them swipes. It's because we want people to swipe that link and go to the page. Um, we've given them the materials and they've said they'd mail, and the date that they said they'd mail comes up and I go check the tracking inside of our system and there were only 2 clicks. Well, that means they probably clicked on the link to make sure it went where it was supposed to go. But 2 clicks, or we had a guy recently send 2,118 clicks to our offer, but there were only 2 opt-ins. So what does that tell you about that? There were no sales, just 2 opt-ins. So what does that tell you about that? Well, the list is not very good. There are a lot of looky-loos, we call them. They'll look, but they're not going to buy. They're not going to opt in. They're not going to, you know, opt into anything. They're just not interested. Opting in means you filled out the form with your name and an email address. That's what an opt-in form is for those who don't know. And so I look at all of that. And then on further into that, we'll look at for this promotion, this link, that registration link that was set out, what was their open rate? How many people opted in, clicked, then opted in? How many people attended? And so webinars are having a serious issue with people clicking but not attending. So then there's the conversation, how do you get them to stay and attend? What incentives do you give them to stay and stay till the end? So I just had a long conversation about that, incentives. Incentive marketing as a whole is a very interesting proposition.
It
So
is, and there's a lot of learning to it. Go ahead.
it's not as simple as people might think. Um, and so that's why people come to me, like you want me to talk to people about it. Well, I figure the more people who understand how this works, the better our business is going to run. And the more people in it, the more opportunity there is to have revenue from it. I mean, we're all out here to to sell our products. And I mean, what you do is so heart-based that here's an anomaly everywhere with people who are in the heart-based thinking. They they are afraid to ask for the cash. In the music business, I would say to the songwriter or entertain the singer, whoever they were, whether they were the same people or not, you know, how much money are you making sitting in your room in the purity of your songwriting when nobody ever hears your music? How much money are you making when nobody ever hears your music? That's not a measure of success. Is that your measure of success? Because you're not making any money. You might write beautiful songs, but if nobody ever hears them, what's the point? Well, in our business, especially people in the spiritual, sometimes we call them woo-woo people, but the people who are in modalities that are not normal commerce. And so psychics and crystal people, and there are a lot of people out there who have these very spiritual bents. And there's not a thing wrong with them, except they don't ask for the cash. And
And if you don't ask for the cash, how do you get paid?
and how do you measure your success? So you could give it all away. You could just be really altruistic and give everything away, but you won't be around very long. Then you better have some other funding. And so anyway, that's a disingenuous reaction to trying to have the money conversation is, oh, well, I have the purity of my product. Well, then you're a failure because you didn't sell anything. So, and failure is kind of nebulous. I've failed at so many things. It's ridiculous, but look what I know now because of failures. I had a crowdfunding platform in 2012, and it didn't last very long because I really hated doing that because almost everybody who wanted to crowdfund didn't understand marketing. So they didn't have a mailing list or social media. They had no platform to speak to. They expected people put up a crowdfunding project and people will just show up. Yeah, that's not how it works. You have to drive people to that. So it didn't last very long. But what I learned, because I also worked on legislation for the state of Nevada for crowdfunding, and then the Jobs Act happened and preempted us. But I mean, so, as you could tell, I'm very curious about how things work. And I'm also a driver to make change. You talked about my work with the city of Reno. I really don't know much about trees, but I do know how to get people to make a decision and they asked me to be on the Urban Forestry Commission because I also do 3.5 blocks worth of gardens along our Riverwalk downtown. And
Wow.
the guys at City Parks call me Mommy Warbucks because if we have a project down there that we want funded or materials for, I will figure out a way to get that. I will go to the Basilite company and say, okay, I want 150 square feet of these flagstones. Make me a deal. Make me a good deal. Make me like an almost giving me deal. And so the 150 square feet of flagstones would normally cost three or four, $5,000. I got it for 500. And then the city
Wow.
parks
That's a
guys
deal.
installed it. Right. So, all kinds of things like that. I talk people in soil companies, Kellogg, to donate bags of soil. And because if you don't ask, you're not going to get. And if when you ask, they don't like saying no because I'll give them publicity. And I talk about it all the time. I just mentioned Kellogg. I just mentioned, how to get things done is asking. But you don't have to beat people up. I really don't beat people up. Um, I try to establish, so back to JV marketing management. I try to love on people. In the music business, we called it "Give me some love." Well, that just means, uh, you know, consider my proposition and give me the best deal you can. And so
Be honest, right? Transparency.
transparency, and don't be shy about it. Don't
Mhm.
don't hide the details because you think they might say no if you said that. Well, they might say yes, and then you didn't get your deal done properly. And so the people I know who are successful at that, there are a lot of people who are successful, but they didn't do it with integrity, and that's a whole other thing. I don't do business with people like that because I won't feel right about it. I don't feel
Mhm.
right about offers that somebody's taken a little kernel of information of knowledge and blown it up into a big coaching program, but they don't deliver on the backside. They have a real high ticket price, but they don't deliver on the backside. I'm probably not going to do business with them. Am I going to badmouth them and tell people not to do business with them? No, but I don't have to do business with them. I don't have to become their enemy. I don't, it baffles me. Well, I used to be combative. I used to badmouth, and uh, it just doesn't work. The success rate there, then that comes back around to bite you and you hear somebody talking bad about you, you know. That
And
hurts.
that happens so often. And like you're saying, it's just don't start. It's there's a time just to walk away.
I
It's
have
not
to
a
admit it
situation.
took me a long time to get there. I have a relative here whom I just do it hurts me that I don't like her. But eventually I just had to say, we just have to walk away from that. I can't be around that person. They just are really snobbish, think they're better than everybody else. I just can't do it. I like everybody. I will talk to the mailman. His name is Sterling, by the way. And he's a really lovely man. Replaced Kevin, who retired. And because I want to know who you are. The other part of that is I live in a condo development. So if I see a car drive through here, I don't know who they are. I will just stand and wave to them, but I'm letting them know I saw them. And there are all kinds of ways, but that wasn't aggressive or negative. That was, hi, how you doing? Who are you? It was not a negative thing. So my whole approach to life is um, just loving on people. Well, okay, some people will say you just love on them until they give in to you and say yes. Well, yeah, yeah,
At times, there's cases like that.
nothing
But
wrong with that.
you've worked, DB, you have worked with some major artists. You worked with some global speaker authors. You've
Yeah,
worked with your mail person.
yeah.
Do you remember, I mean, from all the things that you do, was there ever a moment in your life or something that you kind of just realized that, yes, relationships are my superpower?
Yeah, well, I talked about that guy in the music business. There were a couple instances there. The guy in the music business, Richard Whitehouse, who, and I just met him over the phone. I was working with Randy Travis at the time, and he called. Everybody was trying to get Randy to do things with them, and he called to talk about the charts. He actually wanted us to talk about his records on the charts for Curb Records, and his voice was amazing, but he liked my voice. And so we eventually met and became really long-term friends, really long-term friends. And but okay, I'm almost forgetting the quick. Oh, so in that conversation, I realized I had been a blackjack dealer before that, ski bum. I moved from Reno to Nashville and I needed a job. So I talked my way into working for Radio and Records, and they rented space from Randy Travis and Lib Hatcher. And so they offered me the position to work with them and talk to lawyers because that was at the time when Randy's career blew up. The songs in the key of, no, that's Stevie Wonder. Forever Never Amen, that song hit and it
Yeah.
was huge. And he was like a little brother, 10 years younger than me, born May 5th. And just he was just a little talented, but green kid. So, and I was 35 at the time. And so we were good friends. We still are. Somebody posted a picture of him on Facebook, a mutual friend of ours, and I went, "Oh, look at there's Ramdoon. Oh, what a sweet guy." But I learned from those experiences that how I was with people had value. And I was a high limit blackjack dealer, and there was definitely value there
You were
because
mentioning that. Yeah.
I beat the pants off of everybody, and the casinos really like that. And in those days, we skied all day and dealt cards at night. We were done at 1 o'clock and we were 1 a.m. We were fine. It was everybody I know has started in the casinos. And in Reno, it was not like I think of Vegas as being pretty not like Reno. I was going to use the word crass, but not like Reno. Reno's a little Wild West rodeo, and now it's resort, skier, tech. So they're not the same communities. Anyway, so
Mm.
and the other thing was when I started doing when I started doing record promotion, I started at Curb Records for Dick Whitehouse. And my first week on the job, my boss comes, and I don't know what I'm doing. Nobody's trained me. I have no idea how to talk to these people or get my records played. And I called this woman named Dandelion in Hershey, Pennsylvania, Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania. And I just fumbled through the conversation, had no idea what to say. It was a mess. It was awful. And I felt bad about it. And then my boss comes screaming in and saying, Dandelion just called me and told me I should fire you because you're an idiot. And I went, oh, that's not good. Whoops, first day, first week on the job. This is not good. So what I did was, because I could, I booked a plane ticket for an hour and a half later, buzzed home, packed a bag really quick, got on a plane, went to, I don't know where I flew into, Pittsburgh, I can't remember, Philadelphia, wherever. I flew in and drove to her office and was sitting in the lobby when she came in that afternoon after lunch and she said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm Debe Fennell. I'm here to meet with you." And she goes, "Didn't I talk to you this morning?" And I said, "Yeah, and you don't like me and my boss you threatened to get me fired, so I'm here to fix that." And she goes, "No kidding. Wow." And I went, "Yep, so how do we fix that?" So we were lifelong
That's
friends after
great.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Lifelong friends after
Well,
that because I said to her, "I don't know how to do this job. Help me." And that's, I think, admitting your own vulnerability also
mhm.
is such a valuable tool. I don't know how to do
It,
this. Help me.
oh, you're saying so much right there about being able to accept what you don't know and be able to admit, I don't know. You mentioned, I would touch more on your saying, I'm sorry, because I agree to be able to say, I'm sorry and do something about it is so important. But just saying, I'm sorry all the time doesn't help.
Right,
And that
right.
what you're doing right there to be able to stick up and say, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
How can we fix the problem?
So when I
That,
was working for a trade newspaper, radio and records, that was the job I first had in Reno. Totally talked my way into that and had no idea how to write. I mean, my dad was a professor of English and I could write a sentence, but I really didn't know how to write for journalism and I was faking it. And I was so fortunate. My first article, I wrote a full page article, bunch of articles for this trade newspaper and about Nashville country music. And I didn't know anything about this. They would bring me press releases and I would, and so my first page came out and it didn't look anything like what I had written. Not any, it didn't even resemble what I wrote. And so I called my editor in LA and said, Gail, how come this doesn't look like what I wrote? And she said, because that was crap and I couldn't print that. And I said, well, how do I make it better? Then what did I do wrong? So she sent me my galleys, all blue pencil, red penciled up for 6 months. And then at the end of 6 months, I didn't get it. I didn't get one. And by the way, these were overnighted pouches, how we did. There was no electronics back then. Fax was a new thing then, right? And so, and I didn't get a galleys. I didn't get my articles. And called her and said, I didn't get it. She said, you didn't make any mistakes. And that was a big moment for me. That was like, oh, I think I got it. So, and to this day,
well,
those writing skills matter.
they do. They matter a lot.
Yeah,
But tell me something just quickly. How did you transition from the music industry to those worlds of marketing and JV partnerships?
that's a
How
really good question, Mark. iTunes happened, and the music business for several years I left after I left Magnatone Records. Um, I was an independent record promoter, and then iTunes happened, and the record labels were geared towards albums with 12, 14 songs. They were not geared to sell singles for $1.99 or 99 cents that Apple was doing. I mean, they should have known it was coming. Digital was coming. They just, they fought cassettes and they fought CDs, and now they were fighting digital. And the record labels went from 17 labels overnight to 5 labels, just the majors. And so,
huge? That's a big change.
and it wasn't fun anymore. there were a lot of people of my age at the time. I was 50, decided to retire, and they, went on and did other things. And I had at that point in my life, I said, do I want to stay here? It's hot and humid. They have big bugs. We just had a huge tornado. I'm not sure I like it here, but I could be in Reno where could ski and it's dry and there aren't so many bugs. And so
True.
I have family here too. And so I decided to move back here. I do miss living in the South. I liked Nashville. It got too big. It's almost 2 million people now. Got too big.
Wow.
Um, a family in Little Rock. But I decided to come back here and to Reno. And I don't ski anymore, but geez, it's beautiful here.
It
So
is.
I
I've lived
like
in
it.
Denver, and that's beautiful there too, in that
So
area. So,
So
what?
2008.com crash. I had worked for my family's real estate company. I didn't have a job. And so Laura Langmeyer was looking for a person to do PR and she hired me. And then 4 years later, I'm doing all of her marketing. But she was at Lake Tahoe. And that's how she made me do her affiliate JV marketing. So I'm like, okay, I'll do that. I got her on TV. I did all kinds of things, produced a radio show because I had all these other skills. I could do that. So it was fun. I'm still
Yeah,
in
it
touch
sounds
with
like
a lot of
fun.
those people. Yeah.
Anything that you enjoy that's fun. I mean, that's for all of us. We need to search out that fun and learn to enjoy it. And as I talk about that, what excites you most about the future of affiliate partnerships and collaborative marketing, collaborative thinking?
I never thought I would say this, but the merging of the social media and traditional email marketing arenas is creating a whole different kind of collaborative thinking. And AI has changed so much everything we do. It's it speeded things up, sped things up, sorry, so that you don't have to spend all your time writing email copy or writing web page copy or emails to your base or emails to potential, like I have a blanket invitation email that I send to potential JVs or speakers for a summit or whatever. And I just put the points like writing my own JV mastery course. AI wrote most of that from my notes, from the interview it did with me. Well, that's pretty astounding. And what would take us, a long time is now done in minutes. So you still have to go and edit. Don't trust
And
AI.
data, put it back
Yeah,
into your words because I know sometimes I write things and I put them into AI and thinking, no, that's not what I meant.
right.
So it
Well,
helps
and
me
it's
put it.
well, it's pulling from the world's knowledge about the subject. And so sometimes its numbers include areas that we don't deal with here, like affiliate marketing for casinos. Well, we don't do that. Or corporations or whatever. We don't do that. So you have to get rid of all that language and make sure it doesn't do that. And I don't like hyperbole and I don't like emojis in my emails, so I will take all that out.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing we want to make sure to remember, though, that each AI, and I have six of them on my system up every day, each AI goes with their box of information, their own encyclopedia, and each one is different. And you can put something in one AI, ask the same question to another AI, and receive a very different response in that process.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we want to remember when we talk about AI.
Well,
It's
fortunately, my partner, Nairi Ruse in Australia, who's also my client, she's brilliant and a whiz at she has a program called AVA, AIVA, your AI virtual assistant. That and
nice.
she programs all of that. But even so, I have to go back and say, yeah, I don't do emojis. Take those out. And Google doesn't like emojis. So you don't want your emails going out with all this stuff in it, especially in the subject line when it's going to get kicked out. So there's another area of JV email marketing that people need to learn about is, that may look cute, but it's going to get you blocked.
Well, that's the question too. It's one of those things that it's just each system works a little bit different because some do like the AI, some do like the emojis, some do like that help in the marketing perspective. As you mentioned before, there's some things that you like, some things that other people don't like.
Right.
So you've got to make sure that your audience, whether it be in business or personal, your spouse, your business partner, whoever it might be, whoever's reading or receiving that information appreciates it, or sometimes it doesn't matter, but it's that they don't turn it away because of it. But make sure you know your customer or your partner, your family, what is good moving forward, right?
So we just faced a situation where we had a ton of reciprocation. Somebody mailed for us, we were obligated to mail back for them, and we knew there were going to be a lot of emails going to the mailing list, and we didn't want to burn that list. Meaning, we started to get unsubscribes because they just did not like so many emails. And so I recommended to Nairi, well, why don't you just send them an email saying, I'm going to be sending you a whole bunch of emails. Just delete them if you don't like them. But I want to warn you that this is going to happen. And, don't be freaked out because you think I'm all of a sudden changing how I do business. I just am going to, there's a whole bunch of offers I think you want to see. So last week, I asked her, how many unsubscribes did you get after that? And she goes, none. Well, again, transparency. I'm telling you, this is going to happen. Don't freak out. I'm going to send you all these emails, but it's not normal. But if you don't like them, just delete them. And no unsubscribes, which was like music to my ears because you love when your advice is correct. So, so that's the answer to
That's
that.
true. Okay. Well, we started a little bit late. We're getting close to the end. Thank you so much for being here. But before we wrap, DB, if you can, what final message would you just love to leave with our listeners about building real relationships, creating that impact, and working together towards success? What are your thoughts on that?
The
What's that
first
final
thing I
message?
the first thing I do when I set up a meeting with somebody I don't know is I find out who they are. If you're in a big networking group and you're in a breakout room and there's one group where you're 4 minutes in with this one person, and these are all JV managers. The first thing I say is, where are you from? And how did you get there? If that's not and that starts a conversation. You learn more about each other because you can't start from here's the deal. It doesn't work. You need to set a rapport with people so that they know you're a human being and you respect that they're a human being. And so that's my secret sauce is get to know people. I have a lot of people try to approach me on LinkedIn. They're farming. They're trying to get me to buy their thing. And when I accept they want to connect with me, right? And when I accept that connection, I will write to them right then and say, if you're going to try to sell me something, it's not going to work. You want to get to know me, we'll do that first. But and I had a guy last week was just offended and shocked that I would say, don't try to sell me something, because that's the only world he operates in is selling.
Exactly. That's his knowledge.
So I explained to him, I don't work with anybody that I don't know, and I don't know you. And you're going to pitch me. I know you're going to pitch me, and I'm not interested. So, but if you want to get to know me, we could start all over here. I know you've been offended, but we could start all over here from a place of getting to know each other. And he just came back around and said, okay, I had a thought about that. And I really like that idea. Let's meet. So that's where I start from, is getting to know people first.
I think that's a great idea. And that's what we all need to work with. And sometimes it's getting to know each other day to day because things can change and hopefully we're improving in our processes. But getting to know each other, learning about each other, being able to do what I call the EII, that's encouraging, inspiring, and including others, as I think you do so well,
Thank you.
just including your mail person. That is wonderful. That process of getting to know them. But I will say, wow, what an
Thank you.
absolute gift it has been to spend time with Debe Fennell. Today, I think Debe's insight, energy, and dedication to helping others grow, reminds us that strong partnerships do not happen by accident. They're built, and as Debe was talking about, with intention, with care, and a whole lot of heart. DB's living through that truth across media, music, publishing, marketing, and community service. So I'm very grateful for the wisdom that DB has shared and the stories that DB has talked to us about and brought journey to her life, to our life. So whether DB is guiding international lunches or tending gardens along the Reno Riverwalk, which is, she mentioned blocks up there, DB always shows us the power of showing up, giving back, and doing it, as we even saw today, with that smile on her face. So, DB, thank you so much for being here and for all that you do contribute and for the light that you seem to bring into every room, every community you serve. We appreciate you and we're cheering for you as you continue to make a difference.
Thank you,
Any
Mark. I've so
last?
enjoyed this. What a pleasure.
It's a pleasure just talking with you and getting to know you better, audience better. Hopefully, come out here and listen to this over and over. Because if we can bring that balance into our daily lives, into our organizations, then we can truly begin to live the heart of achieving unity success formula, where success is not just about what we accomplish, but about how we grow, how we all can achieve together. So on behalf of Debbie, on behalf of the entire AUSF, Achieving Unity Success Formula community, thank you so much for sharing your time, your wisdom, and what truly seems like your passion with us. You've truly helped us take a giant leap toward our own journey of growth, that understanding that you mentioned earlier. We wish you all the best and look forward to our continued impactful work as we turn unity, personally and professionally, into actions. And remember, building those partnerships, as DB has talked about, with your heart, with clarity and integrity, and as DB mentioned, is the foundation for lifting people through service, through those partnerships, and through that purpose. It's a mindset of value, what DB does in the process, not just an ideal, knowing all sides to every concept, and like in her affiliate marketing management and through Unity, their success strategies, their daily choice to lead with empathy, act with integrity, and uplift others along the way. And it's a service that we can share with others for free as we gain so much for ourselves and others that we meet. Davey, thank you again. I just appreciate you. It's wonderful having you here.
Thank you.
The inspiration that you share. Is there any last comments you want to make or any
No,
last
I've
thoughts
thoroughly
before
enjoyed
we?
it. I love the premise of what you do. I think our ideals match pretty well, and I hope
Thank
everybody
you.
pays more attention to being kind and loving.
And
Thank
it's not hard. It's
you.
just
Not hard.
ending that desire for anger and hate and frustration and a disconnection. All
I will say it's a
processes.
choice.
It
It's a
is.
choice.
There is no doubt about it. It is a choice. I'm glad you mentioned that. And with that inspiration, DB has shared with us, contact Debe Fennell on LinkedIn through her website. It's just LinkedIn at DB Fennell. That's D as in Delta, E, B as in Baker, E, F as in Foxtrot, or Frank, Ennell. Get out there, talk to her, get more information from her. But until next time, let us continue to transform that chaos through communication into connection. Let us continue achieving unity. www.achievingunity.com or call us. Get focused, reality focused. 303-362-8733 or 303 FOCUSED. Want to talk with you. Let's share more about DB has talked about with us today. Let's share more about what we can do. We can stay focused on turning that chaos into connection as we achieve unity by harnessing the power of encouraging, inspiring, and including others in building better businesses, better lives, and a better world. Because life, as we saw from what DB talks about, the people that she knows, people she communicates with, life is what we make it. So let's make it awesome together in unity. DB, thank you again. Thank you all. Thank everyone for your message of helping others, your time, and your commitment. I hope to see you all again next week. Till then, cheers. Stevie, that was great. I like your attitude. I like your stories.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. You could tell I love talking about what I'm talking about.
You
But
have a
I'm
passion
10
for what
minutes,
you do.
I'm 11 minutes late for my meeting with Nairi now.